A CBS News poll out this morning shows most Americans believe President Trump was right to attack a Syrian airbase, but they do not want any larger military action.
57% in our poll approve of last week's missile strike in response to a poison gas attack on civilians. 36% disapprove, but only 18% would accept American ground troops in Syria. Another 30% would go along with future strikes. And 26% want to see peace talks in Syria without military action.
Russia and Iran, the two main allies of Syria's president, told the U.S. they will respond with force to any further attacks on Syria. The airbase that was hit by dozens of U.S. cruise missiles is now back in service. Major Garrett is at the White House with the split inside the Trump administration over the next move in Syria. Major, good morning.
Good morning. The airstrikes gave President Trump a small boost in his approval rating, 3 points. It's now up to 43%. But our survey also showed Democrats and independents wonder if the president can handle the civil war inside Syria. What comes next is a question most on their minds, and it's a big question inside this White House as well.
This is a president that's not afraid to act.
Trump administration officials called the president decisive, but were divided on the future of U.S. policy in Syria after last week's cruise missile strikes on the airbase that launched a sarin gas attack on civilians.
What we're trying to do is obviously defeat ISIS.
United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson agreed the fate of ISIS was more important than that of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad.
The first priority is the defeat of ISIS.
But on Assad's future, the two top Trump diplomats differed. Tillerson suggested Assad's future was in the hands of a country beleaguered by 6 years of civil war.
That we can navigate a political outcome in which the Syrian people, in fact, will determine Bashar al-Assad's fate.
While Haley called for Assad's ouster.
There's not any sort of option where a political solution is going to happen with Assad at the head of the regime.
This led South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham to describe a new Trump approach.
Regime change is now the policy of the Trump administration. That's at least what I've heard.
What's required is some kind of a political solution to that very complex problem.
National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said Syria's civil war, with its many factions and feuding terrorist cells, rests at the heart of the policy dilemma. Dislodging Assad, some administration officials fear, could be just as bad or worse than the status quo.
It's very difficult to understand how a political solution could result from a continuation of the Assad regime. Now, we're not saying that we are the ones who are going to affect that change.
An equally pressing issue, how to handle Syria's top military ally, Russia.
I hope that Russia is thinking carefully about its continued alliance with Bashar al-Assad because every time one of these horrific attacks occurs, it draws Russia closer into some level of responsibility.
Tillerson is traveling to Moscow and will soon meet with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to find out if the Vladimir Putin government is willing or interested in backing away from the Assad regime at any level. Now, the White House is also dealing with a staff shakeup. KT McFarland is out as the Deputy National Security Advisor. She was brought in as part of the leadership team under fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Charlie, McFarland will soon be nominated as the next U.S. ambassador to Singapore.
Thanks, Major.